Welcome to our second development log for Don't Eat Sheep. My name is Jonathan Gonzalez, and today we're going to be looking at another mechanic implemented in the game. Earlier on, we want to include a launch mechanic that will allow the monster character to toss the sheep character in the air to reach certain areas we couldn't otherwise. Now, things like higher platforms, buttons, or anything that we need to reach. Now, it can also be useful for getting the main character across a large gap. This mechanic is relatively simple, but has a lot of moving parts, so to speak. So before I break it down, let's actually take a look at a quick preview of how this mechanic works. Now I'm going to be holding down the right click button on my mouse in order to actually toss the sheep at a specific angle. So in this case, I like to toss the sheep across the gap here in order to actually press a button to lower down the bridge. Now that may seem a bit fast, but there's actually quite a number of different things going on at the same time. First off, we right click and we hold to stop the player movement. We also enable a UI image to appear. We rotate the sheep when we're pressing up or down, and we also increment the force applied to that sheep along with a UI charge bar. Then finally, when we release that right click button, we release the character and it launches through the air. Now notice that the character itself is a white cube and not a red cube. Initially, I tried to apply the force to the red cube, which is the original player, and this contained the player movement, but I had a hard time switching between the physics forces and the player movement in a smooth manner. So I ended up instead disabling the original player, instantiating a rigid body based character, then enabling the original character upon impact with an obstacle. So upon impact, we also destroy the projectile clone of the character. Another thing to note is that the camera follows the clone through the air. So this was done using a modified version of the smooth follow script, which allowed me to dynamically switch between the clone character and the real player to track with the camera. As you can see, there's quite a bit going on at the same time to create a relatively smooth transition between aiming, launching, and then finally landing of this character. Now that's it for this development log. We'll keep you updated with more development insights with Don't Eat Sheep.